What's up, my
What's
brother?
up? Day 2 in a row, huh?
Yeah,
Fucking ass all fucked up.
ain't even been 24 hours yet.
Yeah, no, man, just pumping information to
Yeah,
everybody.
we rocking the blue today, ain't we?
There we are. I see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I thought maybe you have a Gator shirt on.
Nah,
No.
nah. Can't rock the Gators.
Why? You're
Although Emmitt Smith played for them, but
yeah.
still, I don't rock no Cardinals jersey either.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
but yeah, man, you doing all right today?
Yeah, we're doing good. Trying to get some stuff done. Trying to have a relaxing Sunday. Get some stuff done around the house here. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm excited for this show today with Blaine from Dynamic Grading Authority,
Oh,
and
me too.
see about his company. I know I've used them, and I like using the company. And the guys that run the company are great, Blaine and Danny. So get them on, so people that are interested in DGA, they can see the man behind the company.
Yeah, I get some
So I know
questions to ask them,
I know you've been
clarification.
wanting to ask him some questions.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna drill them like 60 minutes, dude. Huh? We're gonna drill them with questions like it's 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He popped on, but then he popped back off.
No, that's fine. But yeah, he'll come back in, maybe service issue. But no, it's no, I'm excited. I mean, get some clarifications about how they grade. Certain questions that we had when we were doing your reveal with your cards. And I think for our viewers and everything too. It's gives them another option to look into.
Yeah.
For grading purposes. I mean, I did like the slabs. I did like the report card that they gave you. I think the report card was like my favorite thing.
Yeah, I do too. I like that, and like I said, the slabs. I mean, from what he said when I talked to him before, and it looks like that way. It's like the PSA slabs, and he just joined back on. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring in Blaine, owner of DGA Dynamic Grading Authority. So we'll go ahead and pop you on. What's up, Blaine?
Hey, what's up, Blaine?
You doing all right?
How you guys doing?
Good. How about you?
Glad to have you on today.
Right on. Thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
This is Paul, Sports Cars Junkies. I know y'all haven't met yet. Well, you've kind of probably heard him on the last podcast when I did the reveal and everything. So,
right. What was your name, sir?
I'm Paul. I go by Sports Cars Junkies on Instagram. Nice to meet you. Right. No, so I mean, we like the slabs that you guys did and what you guys do with that. So we just want to kind of bring you on to, have people meet you behind the scenes, and get to know you and get to know about your company and why you guys, should be a major player in it and the grading aspect of it. So,
okay.
I mean, yeah, I just want to, if you want to let everybody know just what got you into the hobby. When did you get in the hobby? You've been in the hobby for a while, or?
Yeah. So my first experience with cards was when I was 8. So back in 1989, my brother was an athlete already at that time. And one of my first memories of watching basketball was watching Jordan at the dunk championship in '88.
Oh, wow.
And Jordan was already, his favorite player. And I mentored, my brother was like my hero when I was a kid. He was 7 years older than me. And every sport he touched, man, he was just gold. And so naturally, Jordan was my brother's favorite player. So naturally, I was screaming Michael Jordan as I was running around the house at 7, 8 years old, wanting to watch everything my brother watched. And so when I was 8, I got into cards, and I started playing basketball and baseball at that age. And my father, within like half a year of me asking him for money to buy these cards, my father, is a businessman, and he's like, I think there might be something to this. So he opened a card shop in '89.
Oh, really?
Yep. So every day when I get out of school, I'd go to the shop and hang out. And then the shop sponsored my little league team that I was on, and basketball teams I was on. And so I just kind of grew up around sports as a guy who played, and then watching my brother play. And then so cards were just kind of like a natural thing.
Right.
You know, because you're watching all the games as a kid, and it was real intriguing to me. So yeah, I got into it, and the first dollar I ever made was selling sports cards on my bus on the way to school, so I could raise money for Christmas to buy like my family and friends stuff for Christmas. So
that's cool.
I was pretty into it. So like by the time I was 14, I had like my own display cases from when I used to do shows with my dad. In my bedroom and set up like a little mini shop in my bedroom. So kids would come over after school and buy cards from me.
Yeah.
But then, you know, girls kind of like took over the interest for a while. And I didn't really kind of get back in until I was 19. So 2000, I got back into the hobby pretty hard. And then been pretty much into it ever since, except for like a couple years, because every now and then I would date some girl. And she's like, why you got all these cards laying around? I'm like, they're an investment. They're an investment.
Yeah.
You know, so I sound like a dork.
Yeah.
And try and come at them from like the financial aspect. But anyway, yeah, I've been into cards for a long time. Until Dynamic Grading Authority had a shop and would do a lot of shows and a bunch of people around the hobby. And you know, if you guys have questions on like what led to Dynamic Grading Authority being born, you know,
that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, it's going to come up. Well,
now that we know how you became into the hobby, what led you to starting your own grading company?
So, you know, I've been building inventory for years, and you know, eventually opened a shop. It wasn't like your typical brick and mortar, but it is a, you know, I do have a building. So it'd be, you know, like it would be like by appointment, a lot of online stuff, and then eventually, you know, it's just kind of like an open door, like, hey man, this guy's got a shop over in East Peoria, Illinois, and then, but it was kind of like a giant man cave, really, you know, just like stuff that I'd accumulated, and then yeah, so I had a shop for a couple of years, and then like everyone else, you know, I was submitting to PSA and submitting to Beckett, and then prices just kind of went unchecked, and turnaround time was, you know, like no accountability there. And the customer service was kind of, you know, I'm not speaking specific to any company. I don't want to say anything negative about any of my colleagues out there. But as a guy who was doing grading and a guy who's trying to run a business, like I was starting to experience what everyone else was, right? I mean, it's not a hidden secret, like what happened in the grading industry over the last 2 to 3 years. But when the pandemic hit, stuff just got out of hand. And at one point I had like $80,000 in inventory at one of the grading companies between, I think like 8 or 9 subs, but they were all 10-day. They're all supposed to be 10-day turnaround time, you know? So I think at the time they were like 50 or 60 bucks a card. And it took like 6 months and a week for them all to be done. And by the time they were all done, I'd lost,
the value in them.
Crazy money. I mean, like at the time I'd sent them in like 2 months before the second year Jordans, where an 8 was like $3,000. And by the time I got them back, 8s were like $500. And anyway, so I'd, you know, people I knew around the industry knew I'd wanted to start a grading company. Like I'd talked about it 3 or 4 years ago, but I thought it was going to take, you know, way more money than it did. I thought it was going to be like 1.5 or something just to start one.
Yeah.
So I never did. And eventually guys were like, man, you know, this is just getting out of hand. So eventually I was like, what am I really doing in the hobby? You know, like I love the hobby. I love the people I meet, but there's a ton of card shops out there. You know, can I bring something more to the industry? So I figured I could have a better impact by having a grading company that was for the hobbyists, right? So like, I mean, you can't have a company without turning a profit, but the way I was looking at it and the numbers were showing to me is that I could start a grading company and have rates and turnaround times and customer service that would match all the issues we were having in the hobby, still make something, but bring a solution to the customers that is way better than what was out there. So I just like rolled up my sleeves and said, all right, the grading or the card shop's done because I don't want there to be a conflict of interest. I'm starting a grading company today. So I filed for my articles of incorporation and filed everything I need to do. and started spending money and started doing more research and development. And, next thing you know, HGA had just come on right before I got all my paperwork filed. So they kind of beat us to the punch on a couple things we were wanting to bring fresh to the industry.
Yeah.
So then naturally some people's like, oh, this is a company trying to be like HGA. And it's like, no, we just wasn't launched live to the public yet. But yes, I mean, it was just kind of like at one point, what do we do? Like, there's no accountability as far as like me and a lot of other guys in the hobby was seeing, because there's no transparency in grading. Like, you didn't know why you got an 8 or a 6, or you'd see 10s and you're like, these aren't really 10s. So how many people were just chasing comps, like, and then the pricing and turnaround time, no accountability there. And so we just figured that there needed to be a company, regardless of how much scrutiny we knew we would catch, because there's always that stigma with like, oh, new grading company, they're not going to be around
for a year and then they'll be gone. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I gotta say, and I don't mean to cut you off. I mean, I think that's the one thing that me and Calvary stated with you guys, is that the transparency with it, because of the report card. Like, the report card is my favorite thing. It shows you where, why, what, where all these other ones don't do it. So honestly, like, if you guys are going to be around for, years and years and years, like, I think that's something. Or like, you might have the possibility where a PSA or Beckett come knocking on your door saying, hey, like, we want to know how you do that or whatever, so you could potentially have like an impact, even if it's not DJ, it could be you getting bought out by one of these ones that are around, but you still impacted the hobby.
Right. And I appreciate you saying that. I mean, whether PSA or Beckett comes knocking, I'm not going to hold my breath on that. And unfortunately, I would have a feeling. Now, I know a guy over at Beckett, one of the higher ups, and he's a great guy. But I don't, I never had that personal touch with PSA. But having said that, the thing that I really thought was like really excited me was to show, like, bring transparency to the grading industry. I was telling people before we went live, like, hey, we're going to have it to where you can see why your card got the grades that it did. And we're very proud of that. And it does take a little extra time, but as far as I'm concerned, like, if you're not filling that information out as a grader and as a QC guy, how are you coming to your calculation of the grade anyway?
Yeah.
So I believe that other companies write that info down. They just don't share it. And whether they choose to or not is totally up to them. But we feel like if you're a customer and you're sending us your property, one, it's exactly that. These cards are your guys' property.
Yeah.
And we're grateful you send them in. 2, you pay us for the service. So in 3, you should know why your cards get the grades that they do, because I'm not going to own a company where we just sit over here and want you to send us your money and have no accountability to you. So that was the other reason, was we felt it's just good business. Like, if you guys happen to miss that there's a small indentation mark on the back of a card by the Panini logo and you didn't see it and your surface is an 8, you should know why, so we'll put that stuff on there, like, hey, indentation mark on right side of Brady's helmet, or lamination issue on the front left by the rookie shield, because you'd be surprised how many people send in cards every week and how many issues we see that we know they didn't. Right. So like there's a segment we're going to launch on the website soon. Another thing to kind of help with the transparency and grading aspect, it's called From the Grader's Desk, right? So it's going to be the segment to where you can go on our website and it'll show you little tips on like how to, like, things you may not do currently to look at your cards before you send them in. And it's something real affordable too. So like, there's actually stuff that for $40, you can get a 20 power loop with LED lights and ultraviolet and or an LED flashlight to go with it. $40, these 2 things, and it would eliminate probably half the cards we see, because you use this and you can see defects on your cards so easily. And like, some cards obviously are going to have defects, you still going to want to go and grade it, right? Like, if you But if it's like a 2021 Trevor Lawrence Mosaic base card, and you see it's riddled with lamination issues on the back, or 32 print lines and 7 scratches, like, you're not going to want to send that in.
And that's a problem too. I like, not, it's not your guys or anybody else grading, is that like these card companies like Panini, for example, like even in this year's Downtown, they had so many fucking print lines in them and the kaboom and shit too. Like,
and then
bad. Yeah, and that, like, obviously as a grader, like that's not the person's fault, like me who had that card that sent it in. It's, the manufacturer's problem on that, but they still set out a shitty product with those, and then we get dinged for them, and now it's a standard for that shit. Like it's one of those things too. Is like I wish that didn't really take away from the card, like a manufacturer's defect, but that's like on a wish list.
Well, so one of the things that we do recognize, right? So if someone sends us a Gretzky O-Pee-Chee rookie versus a Gretzky Topps rookie, O-Pee-Chee had really bad factory cuts. So a lot of times one of their edges would be really furry, right? And that was just on O-Pee-Chee's manufacturing. So like when we see something like that, we take that into consideration. Like, you can't judge that the same way you would judge a card that's cut today, right? So it's the same thing with a lot of these surface issues. Like, the way we look at it is a defect on the card. Having said that, we understand that it's a manufacturer defect. And if depending on where the defect is, so if there's like 20 print lines on the back, but you can only see them under LED or magnification, you don't get dinged as hard as you might at grading company X, right? So like, we still allow for defects depending on how the defects are. So I can look at a card and tell if the defect is from a manufacturer or if the defect is from being in the hand of a hobbyist, the majority of the time. So like, certain corners will come in on a card and the lamination layer is pinched down, so the card's not 100% sharp, right? That didn't happen with the person. That happened with the manufacturer. So like, we have in-house ways of looking at cards, and so like, if you send the card to grading company X and they give you an 8 because you got all these print lines on the back, we're not going to give you the same grade. It's all about eye appeal, right? So the card, if it has 0 defects, it's going to get an exquisite black. If it's got some defects, we judge the card based on the defects that are presented. But if you got a card where there's nothing on the surface on the front, so it's not really affecting the eye appeal, but there's some print lines on the back, the card can still gem as far as we're concerned. So we do take those things into consideration.
Good. So how do you, I think PSA is like 80-20 centering and things of that nature. What do you guys go by for? Well, it could be 80. I don't know. Like, I could pull something right out of the back. It looks good and get a 6-pack. But,
we all know, that they're a little more lenient over there on centering. We have the same scales, Beckett. So the way we look at it is the card can be 55-45 maximum one way on the front and still gem. But if a card is 60-40 left to right or top to bottom, you can't. That's a 9 on centering. But that's just the way we feel, because I feel like if a card's got a label of a 10, then the card should be a 10. And if the centering is off that much to where you don't even need to measure it, and you're like, oh man, that's way out.
Right.
I can't justify the card to be a 10 because another grading company does. And one of the reasons why is we want people that's buying DGA slabs or sending into DGA to feel like that DGA is a reputable company that grades consistently and accurately. And because some people it's long-term investment, some people flip immediately, and some people it's long-term, some people just want their card protected. But the way I look at it is, years from now, I do plan on Dynamic Grading Authority being around, and I want people, as the reputation and respect builds, to trust that if it says 9.5 centering or 10 centering on the label, that it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I mean, so like you guys both remember when the 2 Jordans sold for like 725,000, the PSA 10 rookies.
Yep.
I mean, do you guys remember that one of them, the centering was like 60-40?
But
So could you imagine being an investor and one guy's 10 is 50-50 and the other guy's 10 is 60-40, but the guy who's centering was 60-40 was paying the same amount of money as the guy who's centering was 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's on the buyer, but we just feel like we're going to get a label of a 10 or 9.5 if that's what the card truly is.
No, and that's the thing that I've always done when it came to centering. I don't know if you guys are the same, is that I'll take a 7 with perfect centering compared to an 8 that's like fucking, it just looks bad on the front. You know, it might be a higher grade and the centering's off. I'd rather take the lower grade with the better centering.
Right.
Because I just feel like the first look of a card, like I want it to be like aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Not like off the side or something's going to drive me nuts, you know?
Yeah. Centering is always usually the first subgrade that people look at. You know, that's the first view of a card is your centering.
Yeah, so, every card that I look at that I pull or I get, you know, that I buy off eBay or whatnot, you know, that's first thing I'm looking at is, you know, is it centered? Yeah, because when you get those ones where you got a thin gap on the side border and then a wide gap over here on the other side, it's like
that I mean, I'd probably say centering for me, and then like I'll look at the corners and make sure they're not banged, and then you know, like I think edges are last for me, but like surface, then you know, make there's no gouges. But so for example, like SGC, like they've been around for a while, and I actually like the tuxedo slabs of them. I think it looks good on different cards. But when Beckett and PSA were taking months and months and months to you know, come back, I'd use SGC as like a vetting process. Like something that comes back 9.5, 10, whatever. And you would have a pretty good conversion rate on that stuff. On like older stuff, modern, probably not so much. But my question to you is, have you cracked, like graded yours, or have heard from people that use you as a grading for like the vetting out process and then crossed them over to a PSA or Beckett? And how did you guys match up?
So far, yeah, I mean, customers have sent us some info. We actually just got one of our customers had sent in a Miles Bridges, I think it was a courtside copper, and we graded it a 9.5. And he sent it to the Newport Beach company, and they gave it a 10. And so he's like, man, yeah, your guys' grading is pretty on point. Another grading, or another customer had a Brady Bowman rookie he'd sent to us. We gave it a 9. And he sent it to, you know, the Newport Beach company, and they also gave it a 9. So the reports we get whenever people do share that info with us has been extremely favorable, you know, showing that we're accurate and consistent. I think we've only heard of 2 situations, like 2 cards total, that's ever been crossed that we know of from customers sharing, and they were a 0.5 point difference. But so I think I was just looking last week, and we'd received 43 reports, like 43 cards that's been trying to be crossed with PSA or Beckett, and 41 of them received the exact same grade.
Good, damn. It's a pretty spot on. I mean, that's good to hear. I mean, too. I mean, just because right now we all know for the most part, like PSA is king when it comes to cash. You know, what you can get. But I mean, if your stuff's that accurate, you know, if I'm on the fence of sending in something, at least I could send it to you and say, hey, someone with professional's eyes, look at this for me, right? And say, hey, if I see something different, it comes back. Like, so, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, as long as you're, you know, fairly consistent, like it sounds like you guys are, I mean, I think that's great. You know?
Well, so one of the other things that we wanted to bring to the table that I mean, and this was never like confirmed, you know, by any other grading company, but when some of the other grading companies were having to go through these mass hirings to kind of help try and keep up with their backlogs, you know, like I said, it's just in theory, but I was assuming that like when PSA did their 150 hires or whatever they had in their newsletter that one time, I was there thinking, is it possible that they found that many people that are very knowledgeable on sports card?
Right.
Or was this guy, one of these guys' last job working at, you know, I don't want to say, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like something where he has like no
Just
knowledge
something that
of
had nothing to
cards.
do with grading cards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or has no knowledge of cards, right? Like,
Yeah,
because
not in
here's
a hobby or anything.
right. So, like, is this grader going to be able to look at a 1996 Jordan mystery borderless refractor and know that it's a mystery borderless refractor? Is he going to know there's a border variation or a
Yeah.
refractor variation, or is their QC person going to know? So, like, one of the things that I've done to ensure our consistency here is every employee that I have all knows about cards, right? Now, obviously, there's training and development. So, like, I gotta teach some of these guys some stuff, but a lot of these guys already know like what they're looking at. You know what a photo variation is, what a mystery borderless refractor, or that there's the 58 variation with Hank Aaron where one card's got Aaron in yellow letters and one's got it in white letters. Like, are they
Right.
going to know that?
Mhm.
And then the other thing is that every card that comes through the facility, once it goes into card flow, so like once it leaves the vault and goes out to grading, it gets a minimum of 3 sets of eyes on it looking for things before it goes out the door.
Mhm.
That way, you know, there's not just a grader, like one grader and one QC person, and that's it, you know, because people are human and we can still miss stuff. But one of the things we want to make sure that why we're consistent and accurate is because we have the cards checked multiple times by multiple people before they leave the facility.
And do y'all, speaking of, different eyes on the cards, do y'all use any type? Because a lot of the newer grading companies are moving towards like using some AI in it and stuff. Do y'all use any type of AI, or is it
No,
strictly human interfacing
no,
with it?
no. And I do. And it's not that we don't use AI because we don't think it's not something good. Just for me, from my opinion, some of the stuff that I've seen, some of the softwares I've seen out there are not accurate enough, right? So
Right.
there's this one, and I can't share their name with you, but their margin of error on the test samples they ran was like 27%.
Oh
And
wow.
so if you're looking at a scale of a 1 to 10 on a card, 27% spans anywhere from a 7 to a 10, or
Yeah.
7.5 to a 10. And it's I think that it's a great theory, and there's some companies out there they do really good. I feel that there's some things it's going to be hard for AI to catch, right? So like say you're looking at a card, right? You're looking at it dead on, right? Sometimes you have to like move the card, to get like an accurate representation of
Yeah,
just the
exactly.
surface.
With the glares and everything on it.
Yeah, and corners too, like I mean, so just to me at this point, we're not using any AI. We're just looking at the card, a length of time that we feel the card needs to be looked at. So like we don't grade cards in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I know that some companies out there have been giving themselves praise by saying, "Oh, we grade X amount of cards in a day," and blah blah. We're kicking ass, and we're the exact opposite. Like, I don't want a grader to spend 15 minutes on a card. At that point, we'd have to raise our rates, but
Yeah.
we make sure that every card gets at least 4 or 5 minutes looked at.
So
Yeah.
what's the process like when the card gets to your door? Like what stages does it go through, I guess?
So when it comes in, it's automatically through order entry, usually. Like, I mean, there's some bulk guys that, they'll just send me like 200 cards in a box and say, "Oh man, hey, can you do the order entry for me?" And that's not the practice we want people to do, but I've been kind of flexible on some stuff. But when a card comes in, if it's already through order entry, I'll go through submission validation, and that's where I personally go through every single card that comes in and check and see if there's any variations, make sure the card number's right, the spelling, the player's name, so I go through all that. And then the card goes into the vault. So like we have a vault on site. And whenever submissions come in, They go into the vault and they sit there until they're ready to go, until one of the graders is ready to receive their next order. And then, so when, say, John Q order 906 is on deck for grading, they'll go onto the grader's cart that's available. And then when he's done grading, they'll go back into the vault. The next step is QC. I personally look at every single card. Like, it doesn't matter that I'm the owner. I look at every single card. And then when it's done with QC, it goes to labels. When it's done with labels, it goes to QC2. And then when it's done with QC2, it goes to slab, which is assembly. And then after that, we QC them one more time. And then if they're good to go, they get packaged up and shipped out.
So if you guys, you're projected, to grow, and you've been growing, and it's probably been, a steady growth for you guys within the hobby, you're touching every card now or looking at it. Like, if you're doing volume as some of these guys are, the Beckett's and PSAs of the world, like, how are you still going to try to touch every card of that, or are you going to try to, like?
I will until it becomes what I would believe an issue, right? So, I mean, obviously I'm human. I need sleep.
Yeah.
And, like, your eyes need a rest here and there. So, like, obviously there's no way I could QC like 500 cards a day and be effective. You know what I mean? So there are guys waiting to start to work here as the volume grows. And some of those tasks will get passed off a little bit. I mean, I would still want to look at every card, but
you can spot check them, I guess, at that point,
But at some point, if we're doing that much volume, it's just going to be human nature. I'd have to have more people help. But at this point, I'm going to keep putting my eyes on every single card until
you can't.
And I work every day,
Yeah.
But it's because I believe in the company, and I believe that the guys that's sending in stuff, that I owe it to them as them to and are investing into DGA by sending us business. I feel I owe it to them to give like 200%, man. So if I'm in the state, I'm at the building and I'm working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And my guys, they work as much as they need to, and like Friday, one of my backgrounds is I was a lean manager for multiple facilities for this company. And if you're not familiar with lean, it's like efficiency expert, like Six Sigma sort of stuff.
Okay.
So it's a way to help eliminate waste and improve your processes. So I've used those, and I went to the school like University of Wisconsin for that. So I've applied those methods here, right? So when we first started, say you're grading like 200 cards a week because that's all that you could efficiently do. So our capacity has grown beyond the amount of cards we get in, and our volume has went up like 300% over the last 5 months, I guess.
Yeah.
But we are now surpassed the amount of volume that comes in to where, so there's some days where, we're 10 days ahead. Like we have not been tested on the capacity of our card flow processes in probably over a month, because we just are getting better and finding ways to eliminate waste, and have just become better at the process. We also have had zero turnover. Now I don't have 100 employees, but the employees I have are still here. No one has ever quit, and I haven't had to train anyone new in a while. So that's another thing that helps lead to efficiency.
So there's a lot of consistency there in the company, having to waste time training people, getting everything set up for new employees at the moment. So you're able to just have a constant flow.
Yeah. Everyone knows the role. Everyone is happy to, and everyone's cross-trained, right? So like my grader, if he needs to do assembly at some point, he'll help on assembly. My label guy is trained also as a grader. So like guys are cross-trained so they can help if like one day we catch a bottleneck where, say, we're 300 cards graded ahead of schedule for that day, but there's a bottleneck in assembly, guys can step up and be like, all right, I'm going to stop grading for a little bit. I'm going to go do some assembly. So, and that's another thing that's helped out too is, you gotta be able to adapt, right? So like one day a guy dropped off 997 cards as a drop-off submission.
Oh, wow.
He told us he was bringing 500. But he didn't know how many he really had.
Did you order entry him, or did he do them himself?
Yeah. No, I did order entry. It took a while.
Yeah. Shit.
But so something like that, we had to adapt because all of a sudden the scope of the schedule had to adjust because we're getting more cards in than was planned for that guy's time spot. Because we also have a turnaround time guarantee, right? So our guaranteed turnaround time is 25 days where you get 50% of your grading fees back. And
I like that aspect too. Because,
I'm a man of my
like
word.
we mentioned with the other companies, they don't really care if they keep your cards for 3 extra months.
No, I had I think I said this on the show just for for you to listen. For example, I sent off a couple Brady Kaboom and an Iverson Kaboom Super Express, supposed to be like a month turnaround time, and I sent off like a regular $50 service. The other one was $150.
Yeah.
I get my Super Express back a week, like 2 months, and then I get my regular the same time, like a week difference.
Wow.
Yes.
So I paid $100 more per card. I could have just sent them fucking regular, got them back the same amount of time.
Yeah. And
it's not like I can knock on the door for a refund either.
And they'll laugh at you if you bring it up. They're like, oh, well, it is what it is. And so we follow first in, first out, which that's one of the rules of lean, right? So like, now we do have other service levels, 10-day and then PC, and then we're going to launch raw card observation for people that want to use this as a pre-grading company. So each service level has its own card flow processes. And but we, if I get 10 submissions in throughout the week and one submission's one card and the next one's 100, but whoever comes in first is who gets done. So we because I'm the same way. Like I had submissions, a long time ago, and they'd been entered in February, but then I'm getting submissions I entered in April back first. And it's like, what? Why is that? I thought you guys followed first in, first out. So we make sure we follow that. That's another reason we're successful. Just grab the next order that's due, the next one in line. So we are going to have to. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish what you're saying.
So whenever when the volume gets to a point to where we'll have to scale further, like we do have people waiting to join the team. But it's gonna, I'll have to deal with it as it comes. But until then, I don't have a wife. I don't have any kids. And I'm here to help you guys out. So
you're married to the game, dude. Married to the game.
And I catch a lot of shit from some. Sorry, I catch a lot of.
We swear all the time, dude.
From some of my buddies. They're like, man, when you retired, I thought you were gonna just sit back and chill and sell cars. I was like, look, man, I made a decision to start this grading company, and it demands time. And as long as. Like sometimes I feel bad if I'm going home at a certain time, like, man, I could have stayed longer and worked more, but I still have a lot more time left in me. So the volume could triple and we could still handle it with our current staff. Well, maybe not triple. Double though. Double for sure. The volume could double and we could still handle it with our current resources without having to breach the 25-day turnaround time. So I know that we can grow as we need to as more volume goes up, and volume is going up. I mean, it's gone up considerably over the last few months.
Yeah, I guess that was my question. I know, Mike, you had one, but my question is like the volume aspect of it. Have you seen it affect your business at all? That PSA and back in all them's turnaround times have gotten a lot better, and through that stuff, or have you seen like your business kind of, I'm gonna say, wean off a little bit, but people, since their lead times have gotten better, sending their stuff directly to them. Like, have you seen I guess the direction of the hobby and submissions and all
that? It actually hasn't really affected us much at this point. But I think one of the reasons is now we may receive less new customers over time versus the amount of new customers we get month to month right now.
Mhm.
But what we've been noticing is that once someone tries us out and they see the price and they experience the customer service for themselves and they experience the turnaround time for themselves and the report card and everything, every other aspect that we bring to the table, to the industry, a lot of those guys, it appears, don't want to have to go have their grading experience that they were with the other companies.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Now,
mean,
there's
with
some
my
guys,
experience with the stuff I've sent you, it's came back on time, and anytime I've emailed you, you've responded. Sometimes it might be a couple days, but you always get back to me, and it's I like that. I know I can email one of the big people, and they won't even respond because they're just going to do it their way. And what, like you just said, the cost too. The cost is a hell of a lot better than what you're seeing out there for. And I feel like for not everybody can afford $50 to $100 just to grade the card. A lot of people, it's tough for them to even afford buying packs of cards right now. So I don't know if they really want to go spend $50 to $100 to get a card graded, because not everybody's Drake, that can just go throw around money on their collectibles. So it's,
right?
I think it's a great option too for people that just can't afford to pay, that much to get cards graded, and not everybody has that $500 card that they want to get graded to where it's $2,000. It might be a $10 card that it might just go up to 20, but it's their card. They want to get it graded. Kids want to get into the grading hobby, get their stuff graded. So I think I love that aspect of it. So
yeah. And there's always going to be certain people that they're going to be like, oh, okay, you got these 9 great character traits that you guys bring to the hobby, but what's your comps? And like we're always going to face that, and that is what it is. I knew going in that some people are going to be like, well, what's your comps? And it is what it is. Like we're a newer company. We've our 1-year anniversary will be in a couple months as far as like when we went live. And the way I feel the comps are where they should be. Like modern is tough, for a card in a DGA slab to go up against the same numerical grade as a PSA slab. We're not going to be 100%. We're going to be 90%, not even probably 80%.
Yeah.
But, like if the comp is the only thing that matters to you, I wish those people all the best. And I understand the business aspect, but vintage, our comps are actually pretty close to PSA, Beckett, SGC. We've had cards that went 100% comps, like Reggie Jackson rookie, Kareem, or Lou Alcindor. So Jabbar, but then Alcindor second year, and there was some other ones like Hank Aaron's and some Mays and some Killebrew rookies that they were going 90 to 95% of PSA comps, and they were going 100% of Beckett and SGCs.
Yeah.
So at that point, the math is more. It almost makes no sense to not send those cards to us. But if someone's got like a 1966 manual and it's a 9, I could see them sending it to one of the big 2. But I know that the only way our brand is going to grow is if more people develops trust in us and helps it grow. So it's because PSA and Beckett started day one the same as any other company.
That's what I say when anybody that we're talking to, whether it's new grading companies and stuff. Any company started at the bottom, so they didn't just jump in and be the top dog, automatically. So
yeah, but I think through the consistency and your grades being consistent and the length of time you guys been in business, like that's only going to increase the value over time of what your comps are. If you're consistent, like right now, like you get PSA, you can pull something out of a pack, like it might look like a 10, but PSA sending back 6s. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I felt like sometime, not trying to be slander of PSA or anybody else, but like I just feel like sometimes in these bigger companies you get inconsistencies. It's like whoever, like you have someone that hates fucking Brady. I'm sending him Brady shit. I got the wrong guy that's grading those fucking things. He's gonna be harsh.
Yeah. Or some guy just got divorced that morning.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
he's like, I'm giving out 4s all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might be giving out 10s too. You never know.
Yeah. But I mean, so one of the things we're trying to like help tell people too is, so even though the big two are sitting on top and they have for a long time, until if there's a need, right, for a change in the industry
Yeah.
where people need more options, stuff changes. So like I remember when Sprint was like one of the number one companies in communications, and Dell was a monster. Sears, you know, like everyone went to Sears, and now look where those companies are at. So like, depending on how you would roll with the times and how you treat your customers and how you adapt to the industry, a person that's number one today may not be number one tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not, and I have no ill will towards PSA or Beckett or any of the other grading companies. You know, I believe that multiple options are needed. The one thing I'm hoping that people in the industry will notice, though, is that they have an opportunity to have another choice, you know, so they're not feel like they're held over a barrel, and that they have an opportunity to have a good grading experience. You know, like, so we allow local drop off and local pickup, and there's so many people that have never graded before. And I'm like, hey man, let's set up an appointment. They come in, they get to come in my office and sit here, pick my brain, you know, like ask any questions they want. And I want them to feel like they're not scared to send in cards and just turn this money over. I want them to realize, like, hey, look, here's a grading company where the people work there are friendly. Like, the employees we have here laugh and joke, and like it's a nice atmosphere. And we want people to like enjoy their grading experience. I want them to feel to not be scared to reach out to me because I'm the owner of a grading company. You know, like, I'm sitting here in shorts and sandals, man. Like, I don't wear suits.
Where are you guys located?
East Peoria, Illinois.
Oh, a little cold up there, huh?
It is a little chilly.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't rock a power suit and a power tie, man. That's not my role. Like, I like, you know, I love laughing. I love having fun. You know, like if I can kick back and watch the Big Lebowski while I'm like you seeing some cards, awesome. Or if I can watch like you know, Jordan trash the Trailblazer like an old school game and take a break, great. You know, so like we want people to have fun and you know, be able to call us and ask questions, pay great prices, enjoy their customer service, get their stuff back fast, or faster than what they're used to. And you know, and be able to ask advice. Like, so like if a guy sends in a card and it's a, you know, a Trevor Lawrence mosaic base,
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, this thing is smoked. It's going to be a 4. I'll pull it, you know, most of the time. And send the guy a message and say, hey man, there's some stuff I see in this card. I'm assuming you probably didn't see it. I assume you don't want to pay, you know, X amount of dollars for this, and it'd be a 4. Now, if the guy PCs them or is a collector, it's different, you know, and they're like, hey, I'll take whatever the grade is. It is what it is. But, you know, a lot of guys that are dealers are, you know, bulk subbers, breakers. You know, I have respect to, like, we're not just going to sit here and be a bank and take everyone's money because they didn't catch something. So we also got this min grade policy because of that, where I started, I'm like, you know, if we notice something on the card and you have like a min grade, we're not going to charge you full price. It's $3, you know? So like, if you want a min grade of an 8.5 and I see a card's a 4, I'm not just going to take your $15 for the grading fee or whatever and be like, so what? I'm going to be like, oh, okay, man, I'm going to pull this and I'm going to charge the guy like $3 for my grader's time and my time. And that's it. No other grading company offers that. Like, they have min reviews, but you still paying the full grading fee price. And I get that. I mean, I get, like, it's their business model and it is what it is because the company needs to be profitable and all that. But I feel like there's more to a company than its bottom line. Like, I want my customers to enjoy their experience all around. And as long as the grading company can pay its bills and make a little bit of money here and there, you know, that's enough for me.
That's what sales and, you know, being, you know, in sales or whatever, you know, my experience is you're not selling to somebody like the product. You're selling them like the stickiness, you know, of, hey, like, you're an Apple, say for example, you're an Apple phone. I'm selling the Apple phone. Mike comes up to you, tries to sell you Android, you're probably not going to switch because one, you're in every app for Apple, all your shit's tied together, all this. So it's like the stickiness. So if you're being with a customer, you're bringing them in, you're showing them your processes, they're meeting the team, they're meeting you. It's going to be a lot harder for them to move away from you in business, right? Because they're more comfortable with you, right? They know that, hey, my cars are going to get graded. Hey, these convert pretty well to a PSA or whatever. So, or whatnot, like they're very consistent. So you're creating that stickiness and that trust with that person. So it's harder for them to move away from you guys.
We hope so, man. I mean, that's so like
Mike, I think your mic's muted, Mike.
My bad.
Yeah, I saw you just kind of moving around.
I thought you were swatting a fly.
I'm having a conversation,
Yeah.
No, what I was going to say was, speaking on what he was talking about, with the just kind of feeling comfortable with the company and everything and, meeting everybody. That's how I was because I met y'all at the Dallas Card Show the first time I went. It was my first time to go to the Dallas Card Show. And I didn't really get to talk to you a whole lot the first time I was there because you were running around doing stuff there. But Danny was at the booth and I talked to him for quite a while over there and got to know him. And I mean, just the fact that he sat there and had good conversation with me, I was just random dude that walked up. Hey, what y'all got here, checking it out, because like we were talking earlier, I was always looking for other options too for grading, just, because it's just so expensive with the other ones. And I was looking at other options and he gave me a rundown on a lot of stuff and just his personality and everything, it just kind of pulled me towards it. And then that's when I I got into back and forth email with you and stuff like that. And then spoke with you for a little while at the second card show I went, the one that just happened not that long ago.
Right.
And it's just the communication, personalities and stuff like that. I enjoyed that. So that just got me to where now, I just sub for y'all, want to grade my cards with you guys and everything. So that's working, at least for me it is.
Yeah, we appreciate that. That's how it's I understand like people aren't going to meet Nat Turner at the next Dallas Card Show,
right.
or whatever, but I mean that's a different animal. But the way I figure it is I'm fine with meeting everybody, man. Like I want to meet people in the hobby. It's fun. I've developed a lot of friendships with people in the hobby over the years. And I feel like if you're going to bring us your property, that you should feel comfortable bringing us your property, whether it's in person or through the mail, and believe that we're going to like look over your stuff and it's going to be accurate and consistent. There's many companies I've dealt with over the years because of their customer service. Like I could have went somewhere and saved $5 on my cell phone bill, but I liked the guy that I dealt with at Verizon or whatever.
Exactly.
And that's what we're trying to bring to the industry with our company is I want people to feel comfortable with us, man. I want, if they have a question, to be able to feel free to call me or shoot me an email or to not feel bad about sitting down and talking to us. So like I got some customers that they're a little intimidated, I think, so like one guy, he came by yesterday and he was scared to come over on a Saturday. And I was like, nah, man, come over. I'm working. And he's like, well, I know you got to be a busy man. I'm like, look, man, you got to stop with this apologizing and like being in fear, with my time. And he's like, no, I just know that you got to be busy. I was like, yeah, man, I'm busy, but you're a customer. Come in, sit down, let's chat. And he was here for like an hour and he kept saying, man, I got to go. I know you got things to do. And I was like, look, dude, you sit there in that seat for the whole hour if you want. Like, you got to be here 10 minutes and leave. Like, if you want to chat. So then we, like Hershey Hawkins used to play for Bradley. And, he was in the NBA for a long time and he loved Hershey. So, he was telling stories about him and stuff like that. And I got to meet him and some other stories. And I like getting to know people's story too. I like them to be able to feel comfortable. And so anyway, it's awesome.
Fun. That and like just learning, like I tend to stay away from the people or just not interested in people that, think they know everything.
Mm-hmm.
I just never mesh with them, no matter if it's cards or whatever it is in life. Like I'm just a big fan of learning. And,
people that don't know the phrase, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't, that rubs me wrong. Like I love people that say I don't know, but I'll find out.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, but I'll look into it.
That's how I am too. Like, I mean, I was talking to him earlier. Maybe it was last night about, the whole process of making videos for YouTube and stuff like that. I said, I'm learning, man. Because I didn't know any of it. I'm like, I don't know how to do it yet, but I'm learning. I'm doing everything I can to figure. Because I'm the type too, like I just a figure it out guy. I'm gonna learn, just sponge for learning stuff. So I love to sit down and listen to people and learn, their aspects on how they do things, and just to get things going. So it's always good to listen to people, whether they're customers or just hanging out and talking with people in the hobby. Just learn different aspects. I've learned stuff from Paul. There's some stuff that I incorporate on my stuff where, I'm certain things to do with his cards and stuff like that. I'll blend it in with mine, because I'm like, oh yeah, that probably helped.
You gotta be a smart man, like, because like you said, back to the companies, whoever, JC Penney's was a top dog fucking 20 years ago, now they're dead, right? Like, it's like the people that just don't adapt and stay stagnant, companies, people, individuals, whatever, like over time you just die, man. You fizzle out, right? Like the people in high school that used to be like fucking had their 5 minutes of fame in high school, like people I went to high school with aren't, their time's up, like, for the most part. They're not the popular ones. Their life's not headed in the right direction. They
didn't have to learn anything because they were the top dogs. Yeah, so they didn't think they had to learn anything. Yeah,
so I mean, the real world hits you, but I mean, I just rather stay with the humble stuff. I don't know everything. I don't say I do. I'm just what I will dedicate is like my eyes and ears to listening. Because that's how you learn. And for you, for making videos and stuff like that, like, we've been doing this, August be a year, September somewhere be a year. Like, you look at the videos that we've done a year ago, then you see where they're at now. There's so much better. So you have these benchmarks, right?
Right.
Like, so it's just, you look back, be happy on the progress, and keep developing and learning. But so what's next for you on your guys' schedule? Are you setting up at the Dallas Card Show in May?
Yep. So I told Kyle that I would I think I signed or, did like a year agreement where I would do every show for 2022. And I mean, we don't have no reason not to do that show.
Yeah, it's huge.
It's a big show. There's a lot of attendance. There's a lot of people that, every show we meet people that have never graded a card or don't know anything about grading. And we feel like we need to be at every one of those shows, and I don't care if Beckett pulls down 783 submissions in a day and we get 5, or 20. Like, I feel like we need to be at that show. We need to be. So we're going to start actually doing more shows around. I think I'm going to start doing the Tampa show and some other ones.
I think when people do see your stuff there at the Dallas Card Show, they like the way it looks, because how many people were coming up trying to buy all those Dragon Ball Z cards and stuff you had graded out there on the table?
Oh yeah. I mean, so we have samples out and people try and buy them, like once they pick them up and put them in their hand and they feel the weight, and see that the slab isn't really any different than PSAs. And they see the label, and some of the label variations. I mean, there's some label variations out there that, are a little different. But we allow customers to choose whatever they want. So if a guy sends in a 1980 Topps Ricky Henderson and he wants a cracked ice label on it, I'll send him a message like, this is the label choice you wanted? And he'll be like, yeah, man, it's just for my collection. Like, all right. Okay. Because it's their choice. It's their money and they can do what they want. But, for the standard labels that if we're told, dealer's choice, you guys do what you think looks best for the card. Whenever they see those, people are pretty pleased. Like, and that's been an innovation process too. Like you're talking about companies that don't adapt. I mean, we've only been doing this a hair less than a year as far as live to the public, and we've already had label revisions because the stuff that I thought and some other people thought looked great in the beginning. Over time, like we're like, oh man, that font really isn't the best, and or that doesn't really look like that should be a design we offer. So we've already had to make some changes, but very happy with where we're at, and people once they get our stuff in their hand, they have nothing negative to say usually.
Yeah.
So it's just overcoming that stigmatism of a new company. Their slabs probably suck. They probably use glue, like stuff like that. Like you have to
you
just
tried the crack test, see if it'll just slide open?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had guys come up and try that. They're like, I'm like, do you have any questions? Like, I'm just trying to see if it's going to pop open real quick. I'm like, all right, okay, cool. No problem.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I did it on our video with the live review. I took it and I was bouncing it on the desk. Just, I'm like, I'll test it.
Yeah. I mean, they're
didn't crack open or anything. So
they're ultrasonic welded. There was a lot of R&D that we went through. So like, I knew there was solutions that we were going to have to come to the hobby with to be recognized as a viable option. But there was some stuff that there was no point in reinventing the wheel, right? So like, I've actually always been, I've always loved Beckett slabs. Like I've always loved their slab and their label. But having said that, the majority of the people in the grading industry love PSA slab. So I just found out who their manufacturer was. And there's no point in reinventing the wheel, man. Like, if the majority of the community in grading likes those dimensions and that slab with that frosting and everything on it, well then that's the one we're going to go with. And then we can tailor everything else to us as time goes on. The labels and everything else. But yeah, you get the slab that you love.
I know we've been here for an hour already. We appreciate you joining us. But if you have time for a couple more questions, we'd love to keep you on. I don't know if you need to jump off and go, I don't want to be that guy apologizing.
Hey man,
you're busy.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I know with some of a lot of the new companies that have came out and started, one of the issues with a lot of them is they can only grade 35-point cards. With you guys, can y'all grade everything, or
I'm glad you asked that. So not trying to, I really hope that some of the stuff I say doesn't sound like we're trying to pat ourselves on the back, but I knew going in that we were going to have to really bring a lot to the industry to get some recognition and to get people to try us out. So apparently I went a little harder than some of my colleagues in the industry have. So we actually have 10 molds, 10 different slab dimensions between external dimensions and internal dimensions and thicknesses. And I was surprised that some of the other companies haven't done that. I mean, I guess apparently the only grading companies that have as many label or options as we do is PSA, Beckett, and SGC. So yeah, we can grade, to answer your question, long-winded answer, sorry. We can do 35 point, 100 point, 130 point, 180 point, 260 point. We can do minis, micros, standard, oversized. We actually got 2 more slab sizes. I'll receive the samples Wednesday of this coming week. And so then you could grade like the old school basketball 76, 77 tall boys and they're wide. And then the standard tall boys like Alcinder's rookie card, Redman tobacco cards, so we can, at this point, I think we are now officially able to grade every card size there is.
Now, do y'all have a specific?
Except for 360 point. We can't go to 360 point yet, but we can go up to 260 point thick, which is pretty thick. They're like a little brick.
Yeah. So on the mini cards, do y'all have a specific slab for that, or is there?
Yep.
How do they go in the slab? Because I know some of them, the mini cards in there and it's sliding all around the.
So we have 2 different mini sizes because obviously there's a variation in dimensions on multiple different minis depending on the manufacturers over the years. So we have
minis like the tobacco cards, and then the wide ones like Gowdy and stuff like that.
Yeah. So we have 2 different sizes. So if the card isn't 100% like perfectly fit between the notches within the slab, we'll put it in a penny sleeve. and then they typically don't move once they're in a penny sleeve and ultrasonic welded, because when you ultrasonic weld up that penny sleeve, like kind of vacuum seals around the card.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we have slabs for minis, so the internal dimensions are different. So the external dimensions are the same, but the internal dimensions, the notches are moved to where the card fits.
Okay.
And sits there nice and pleasant.
What about booklets and things of that nature?
Booklets, we do not have a slab yet. That is actually slated for around 60 to 90 days from now. The manufacturer is supposed to start doing booklets. So the unfortunate thing is every time you do a different mold, if the external dimensions are the same, then I don't have to buy another welder. If I change the external dimensions, the bigger the slabs are, the more amperage your welder's got to use to provide like a sufficient weld, right? So I have to buy like the 76, 77 slabs, like molds 9 and 10 is in-house. I've had to buy another welder because I needed more amperage to produce to us a quality weld, right? So the booklet ones I think we'll be able to do with this new welder I just bought. So yeah, I don't see those being an issue, but they're probably at least 3 months out before us to have booklet holders.
Okay. Well, at least they're on the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they'll be in manufacturing in probably about 60 days. But yeah, it's just everything too. Like we've invested a ton of not just time but money and resources to be able to do more than what people anticipated us being able to do, right? So we have multiple welders. We got tons of label printers. Like our resources are definitely above and beyond what we need for the volume we're getting in. Yeah. Because I wanted to make sure that if volume spikes and it goes up 200 to 300%, that our turnaround time is not going to be affected because of that. So we're actually able to handle so much more and already ready for it. So whenever the volume does start jumping like crazy, it's just going to be another day.
You don't have to run around trying to, get new stuff, and
everything will already be in place.
Yeah, that's awesome. And do y'all have anything? I know you mentioned before, I think when we talked about y'all during the live reveal, I think in the comments, y'all did say y'all were going to start doing a pop report that was tied to the QR code. Has that gone into effect yet, or is that still something down the road a little bit? Or
the web developer told me I should see a draft here in about another week or so. So the serial number lookup is live, but the pop report is the next thing on their list. So like right now, the serial number lookup was the next thing. So like say there's a Ray Allen here in my hand. If I type this serial number into the serial number lookup, the way it's verified is it'll bring up the report card, but it won't have the customer's info on the report card. That way,
yeah, I've seen that. I've tried that out. That's pretty cool. You just type in a serial number, boom, you got the report card right there for you to look at.
But yeah, the next thing is the pop report, and then eventually there'll be images. Probably version 3, you'll start seeing like images of the card along with the pop report and or serial number lookup, and then the pop report will have everything broke down by registry of like player or by sport or whatever. So I'm supposed to see a draft of that here in about a week.
Okay.
So awesome. It's there's some other things too that's going to be coming with the website. So like the way I believe, like you always got to be innovating, right? And so there's a lot of stuff, man, that I got planned that will be on our website, but the web developer, they got other customers besides me, so they got to take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But sounds like exciting stuff you guys have going. It sounds like you're going in the right direction for everything.
And it looks like you have fun doing it too. So.
Yeah.
Oh man, so like some days, I'm not gonna lie, like some days I get stressed.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of days, man, like it's fun. Like it's just fun. I've always been drawn to sports, and cards just kind of always seem to have been in my life for a long time. Even when I tried to like not be in the hobby, like a year later, I'm back in the hobby. And
yeah.
So it's
I'll have my moments too where I kind of step away for a little bit, not very long, but I'll step away for a little bit. Like, hey, I need to chill out, and then it just pulls me right back every time. So.
Yeah. So Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it, for the most part. I think the only thing that stresses me out sometimes is and I'll see certain people like criticizing just to criticize. Like, they're like, it's like, hey man, are you really that close-minded
Yeah.
to like not, to just say that, like,
There's a
say the
lot of
stuff
them
that
out
some
there
people
though.
do,
They
and
just wanna pick a fight or complain, something.
yeah. So sometimes that stresses me out because then it's not like I can't take criticism. Like, I love criticism. I love constructive feedback, and but sometimes I worry about some of our customers, when they're like, oh, did you see what this guy said in this thread? Like, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Well, it piss you off? Like, the question is it piss you off? Like, are you going to worry that your DGA slabs are not going to be as viable as you hope they're going to be because this guy makes a comment on how, whatever, like he doesn't like a holographic label, like, I mean, so I think I take some of that stuff in too much, and but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it is probably, especially in today's age when it's all over, social media, and you can see it. It's just like athletes, how they have to deal with hearing people, just because they're not a fan of the team, they got to say something bad about the player or the team. So, I mean, that's just the way it is. So, I wouldn't hold too much breath, but I understand your point, like how your customers may see it or something like that. Like, yeah, but I don't know. I think once they know you, like you said, having them come in, speak with you, see the company and stuff, I don't think they'll be bothered by it either because they know what's really there. And the other customer or the other person that's saying something bad don't even know anything about the company. They ain't even got a car graded by them. So but they're sitting there talking smack. So, try them out before you talk smack,
Yeah. It's funny because sometimes, like, I usually do not reply on any of those threads unless it's a thread on our Facebook, so like if it's on our Facebook, I'll reply to anyone who has a question, whether it's good or bad or whatever.
Yeah. But reply, catch me outside. Catch me outside.
But if it's a thread on like another group's page and they're just, like I don't feel like I have any business jumping on those threads. So I just, like, it is what it is. I just kind of let it go. But like there was one thread and this guy was making some wild accusations. And so I hopped on there and just said, hey man, I'm this is my name. I'm the owner of the company. I'd be happy to address like any questions you have or anything like that. And then all of a sudden the thread went cold and anyone that was making any negative comments stopped. And the guy that was making like this, he said something like, what was it? Oh, it looks like your slabs are made at Toys R Us or something. And I was just like, all right, man. And
being that it's the same, basically the same slab as the big guy.
Yeah, like he had nothing. It was like everyone got scared all of a sudden. It's like, what? Like,
keyboard warriors, man.
I'm like, man, just if you guys want to have a question, like, I'm here to answer. Like, it's just that simple.
You can catch these hands, guys, if you want.
I'll put down the slabs. You can catch the
No, man, it's been fun. I appreciate you, dedicating an hour out of your day.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Cards to hang out with us to grow the audience. Who knows who's listening? All I gotta do is catch one ear, and
and I've actually had this past week I've had a couple people DM me on Instagram just asking about my thoughts on DGA and stuff, because I do throw out my posts about subs and stuff like that. So, or I'll put my cards that I've had graded up on there, and I've had people asking me, and I haven't had a negative thing said yet, like, oh, how are their slabs, so are they flimsy, stuff like that. They're just all asking my opinion, and I just give them my honest opinion of how I tried y'all out. I wanted to see, based off the fact that I met y'all and, I like type of people y'all were. And I said, and then I tried them out and, hey, I love the slabs, love, the labels and everything. And the way everything works out with the report card and all that. And that, And I've had a couple people say, well, I'm going to give them a shot, So, hey,
yeah, great. I appreciate that.
I think it's awesome to, seeing other people have, like you said, an open mind on trying other grading companies too. So, because you got the top three that, like we talked about the costs and everything. So it's cool seeing other people jump in and try and, try out another company and everything. And I think y'all are a great company to try out for a lot of newcomers in the hobby and stuff. So, because that's another thing, you got a lot of newcomers that's all they know is PSA.
Yeah.
That's all they see, so they think that's the only option they have. But we appreciate you coming on, and
oh, no problem,
we can
man.
do it again in the future, and
yeah, that'd be great.
Get some new stuff rolled out.
We'll have to check in like the end of the year, see how things are going.
Yeah, try and get and I'll definitely be at the upcoming card shows and everything. Hang out with y'all up there, and maybe I can stay longer the next time because we're about ready to bounce whenever I seen you at the last one.
Okay.
It's always fun out there, and getting to talk with y'all and hang out. So I will definitely see y'all there, and we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks for
no problem. We'll be on. I'd be happy to be on again at some point. So just let me know.
Oh, sure.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate it, and you have a good rest of your Sunday, man.
All right, you guys too.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks. Bye.
Great guy, man.
Yeah, he's a cool dude. I know I've talked with him and everything, but it never was that in-depth conversation like that. And hey, I mean, the more I talked to him, the more I just got comfortable with him. He seems like a really cool guy. Just somebody you can just hang out and shoot the shit with. Just a normal guy like us.
I think a lot of the questions that we had from your video got answered as well. So I mean, I definitely try them out. I mean, it sounds like their grades convert pretty well over to a PSA or a Beckett, So I mean, why not if you're going to vet them out, for, what is it, $15? Might as well try to vet them out. It's even cheaper than using SGC as a vetting process. So, I'd definitely send some of these cards that I'm on the fence about sending over to PSA before I waste some money sending them to him, see what grades come back.
Yeah, for sure. And, it's the company themselves. I mean, they seem to be doing a lot of great things right now. I've liked everything that I've seen so far, and especially talking with him, he seems like a real personable guy, and that he's actually
cares
got the collector in mind.
Yeah, and he cares about the hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the dollar.
And he knows what's what. He knows, what kind of criticism he's going to get, but he's still going to push through it. And, I like the company all in all, in whole. So,
sure.
I know just throw this out there for anybody that does want to, give them a shot. You can get a free graded card sub for first time subbers if you haven't tried us out or tried DJA out. Through me or through mine and my wife's website, Mike and Becca's Cards. Receive your first card graded free, minimum 5 card submission. So you're getting 6 cards graded for the price of 5. And like they said, the turnaround times are guaranteed, so half your submission cost is refunded if they don't meet it. And pricing starts right here, 1 to 10 cards, $15 each, 11 to 25, 14 each, 25 plus 13 each. So you can go to our website or hit me up on IG for submission info, like address and everything to send it to, and we will get them set up and sent in for you. And I'll do all the entry, all that stuff, get it ready and get them out to them. So if y'all are interested in getting some cards graded, hit me up, DM me on Instagram or our website, mabsportscards.com. All right. Well, I don't know if you got anything else. You want to talk about anything else?
I got nothing, man. I just wanted to make sure that we had a good interview today, a good discussion, I should say, and make sure everybody's transparent with everything and see what they offered.
Yeah, I enjoyed the interview today. I'm glad we were able to get him on. So
for sure.
But yeah, man, if you ain't got nothing else, man, I'll let you get back to your Sunday, and we will see y'all again on Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central.
All righty, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Peace out.
See ya.